r/AskReddit. What are some street smarts everyone should know? You won't get mugged if you look like you're going to mug someone. That reminds me of a comedian. He was going about the scales of not getting mugged fought and he was like, act crazy. No one is going to try and fight a crazy person. Is that the guy who said nobody is going to mug him because he looks like Duck Dynasty and Game of Thrones had a baby? If the situation doesn't feel right, it's not right. Trust your spidey sense. One time I was meeting up with a guy to sell my car. We met up at a mall, so I felt pretty comfortable about the whole thing. He seemed a little off when we met though. I eventually let him take a test drive around the lot and he started to mention taking it for a test drive on the highway. I immediately said nah because he still seemed pretty off, but he kept insisting on taking it there. I had to legit throw the car into park and grab the keys out to keep him from going. The whole time he was saying it's okay, it'll be okay, and that just pissed me off even more. I drove the car back and he just dipped right when we got back without saying a word. That was when I knew I did the right thing. My heart was racing so fast the whole time. It still messes me up just thinking about it. Yeah, you did the right thing. That sounds 100% like he was planning on taking the car and not coming back XD. The fact that he left immediately after just shows that he had no other reason to be there besides to try and steal your car. That part for whatever reason really makes me pissed even more than the rest of the story. Adults do not ask children for help. One time in Disney World, an old couple asked my wife and I if they could speak to our 2 young daughters, ages 10 and 8. Confused, we said sure, but stood right there while they spoke. Can you show us how to find the photos on our cell phone? My daughters helped them out, and as they walked away, they said we usually ask our granddaughters to help us with this stuff. With you being right there, I feel like that's totally acceptable. One time my grandparents couldn't see their phone screen when they were in a city 3 hours away. I think they accidentally turned the brightness all the way down and have poor eyesight so couldn't see the screen. They accidentally called me and I was trying to help them. I just told them a million times to go find a teenager. Always know where the exits are in any place that you enter so that you don't get lost in an emergency. Also, never place yourself in a hole in public where there is only one entrance and exit and no other people around. These are often crime hotspots. When we would, rarely, go out to eat as a family, my pops would only sit facing the door. I never thought anything of it until I was grown. I think it's something that anyone who has training in emergency or protection services do reflexively. For emergency services, you want to know if there's a fire how to get out, and if there's a medical emergency how to get the patient out spine board in. For protection services, you're so used to being on alert that you can't relax if you don't have eyes on the entrance. Wear shoes you can run the duck away in. Be aware of surroundings. Look like you belong either through body language, attire, or occupation, without being oblivious to things around you. The moment you look lost, out of place, or unsure is the moment you can look like a good target. If someone is looking at you with an expression questioning why you are there, be prepared to answer it with confidence and give an answer they would accept, or be prepared to leave before they can ask. Also be 3 feet tall, muscular, have shaved head and long beard. 3 feet. Only break one law at a time except solicitation of prostitution and illegal drug use. They're the PB and jail crimes. Drive it like you stole it, so very carefully, abiding by all traffic laws, to reduce the risk of being pulled over. Yes, exactly. If you're ever locked up and some of the guys are playing cards and you happen to see a card fell into one of their laps, don't try and be helpful and point out that they dropped a card. This is oddly specific. When traveling in Europe, I'm most comfortable keeping my phone in an interior pocket of my coat, which is zipped up. Nobody approaches you on the street because they want to do something for you. It's always because they want something from you. Do not trust taxi drivers if you are a tourist. I'm not a tourist and I still don't trust taxi drivers. Right. My roomie and I were leaving the pub once and the cabbie assumed because she was very drunk I must be too. He started taking a very scenic route to our apartment and I asked him WTF he was doing, get back on the main route or let us out. He was like, oh sorry, wrong turn. MF trying to take advantage of drunk PPL for more money. Shitty for him. I am a big tipper. He got nada. If somebody asks you your name, have a fake generic name and use it all the time. Mike, Dave, and John will do. I use Arthur Curry, not Jakingim secretly Aquaman. Totally joking. I'm Tyrone Skinnerdip on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and every other day I'm Chad Jackson. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Had an experience with this once. 2 masked guys on bikes came up to me and my friends and asked if we wanted some free weed. They showed me something wrapped in tinfoil. Immediately declined. Still wonder what their scam was. If you're driving and hit black ice, just take foot off gas but don't brake until the slide stops. This is great advice. Generally speaking, brakes are not your friend if there is any situation where grip is limited. Braking will often cause the car to become unbalanced and often contribute to a crash. If a stranger talks to you in public, and it's not immediately clear why they're talking to you, ignore them. Just keep minding your own business. Don't look at them, and don't say a word. Most hustles start as just a friendly chat. This should be higher up. Trust that the man literally climbing out of the bushes by the parking lot doesn't need you to tell him the time. He's just using politeness to get close enough. Pay attention when you cross the street on foot. No matter who has the right of way, the vehicle will destroy you, lightly or heavily. Thanks. My dad had an expression about right of way in traffic. You might have right of way, but end up dead right. My driving teacher told me this. Assume everyone in traffic is an absolute idiot. If someone asks your shoe size, start walking lol. This gave me some bad memories of growing up in a shitty neighborhood. Bro, what size shoes you got? Is not a question you want to hear at 1 AM on a Friday night from someone you didn't even see. The only correct answer is not yours. Edit. See the reply from you/my ex is a cheating horse for an effective alternative. Every answer on the street in a not so nice area is no. Hey, can I have a cigarette? No. Hey, you got the time? No. Hey, can I borrow your phone to make a call? No. Stick up men wanna see your hands. If they can see your hands, they know you don't have a weapon and will be easier to rob. Hey, have you ever seen a grown man naked? No. Always ask for only 1 scoop of ice cream first because they make single scoops bigger. Then act like you changed your mind and ask for a 2nd scoop. They will be pressured to match the size of the 1st scoop, providing you with a massive amount of ice cream. Street smarts to give your kids. If you get lost, find the closest adult with kids. I saw this in action once at Disneyland when a 4-year-old kid approached me and my kiddos while we were eating. She joined us very calmly, introduced herself, and said her parents gave her the above advice. I heard her parents shouting her name not long after, and the relief on their faces was a sight. There's actually some statistics behind things like this. Even if you ignore the adults with kids thing, the chances of the person you seek out wanting to do you harm is very low. However, if you allow yourself to be picked out by someone, the chances that that person will do you harm increases. Simple reason is bad people go out their way to seek out the vulnerable. Edit. Lots of people are saying they feel wrong for helping people. Don't. You've done nothing wrong and shouldn't feel bad for helping people and should continue to do so. The point is that if you are ever in trouble, ask for help. Don't be embarrassed and don't wait for someone to help you. Teach your children they should ask for help straight away. The bigger the group, the better. Parents with children are a good choice. Maybe ask for help from 2 different groups of people. Some kids are shy and may try to hide away when they get scared. You don't want that. Tell them to stand in the busiest place near to them and start asking for help. It also works if you're older. If you're too drunk, can't phone a taxi, don't wander around looking vulnerable. Ask someone to call a taxi for you. I don't know why this comment creeped me out so much, even though I'm safely in my home and it's good advice. It's just creepy. Walk fast and look pissed off. I was doing this once and 2 guys threw a sausage at me. Lumfeo what? Why? If you are in any sort of confrontation and someone balls their fist and looks away for a second, or even just looks away for a second, you should be prepared for the possibility of a sucker punch. If a group of people suddenly get down, so do you. Dancing intensifies. Get down on it. You should always be afraid of secondary locations. I've heard this before. If someone mugs you, be compliant and give them your stuff. It's just stuff you can get more. If they try and take you somewhere else though, fight and scream and do anything to escape. Because they don't want your stuff. They want you. And that's not replaceable. I was told the same thing. Even if they're going to kill you, it's better to die there instead of being taken to another location because it could be much worse whatever they plan to do to you at the second location. And it'll be much harder to find them.